This is not an official RJoy video, but the effort here chronicles RJoy's visit to Ghana in July 2023, and this is from my perspective. The group visited Ghana for roughly 10 to 11 days, stops in Accra, in Kumasi, where people visited the Kente village, participated in a naming ceremony, and visited the Slave River, as it is called. It's a place where enslaved people had their last bath before they were marched on to the ports in Cape Coast and in Elmina. The visit also included, as mentioned, Kumasi, Cape Coast, Elmina, and as luck would have it, there was Elmina festival going on that the group was able to participate in. Group effort was under the leadership of the executive director of RJoy of Oakland, Professor Tiasha Bankhead, and she got unbelievable support in planning and executing on the ground from Dr. Rachel Brown, who lives in Ghana and is from Jamaica. The group was led on the ground by Professor Ernest Uwazie, who is Nigerian but has been visiting Ghana since the mid-90s and has a lot of contact and work that he does in Ghana. As a matter of fact, immediately after this group ended, Professor Uwazie joined up with his students, some students from the criminal justice program at California State University in Sacramento, joined up with students and faculty members, do his study abroad. He does from time to time. The RJoy of Oakland group visited the courts, local courts, and members sat in on trials that were being held. Met with judges in chamber to talk about the judicial system there in Ghana and the courts in general. People also visited a prison, visited an ADR event where the group was provided information about the process for doing ADR outside of the legal system to deal with local disputes, as it were. As a part of the activities in Ghana, we started out in Accra and visited the University of Ghana at East Legon, where members of the RJoy group, along with friends and partners, made substantial contribution of gifts to the Center for Aging at the university. But the gifts were provided to be distributed to elderly patrons that the center might encounter as a part of the outreach community effort that they do, in addition to their research, teaching, and scholarship that happens on the university campus. We were exposed to traditional dance by the Abigrama Theatre Company from the University of Ghana. We had opening statements from myself and Professor Tiasha Bankhead. We also had an overview of the center for Aging by Dr. Akustia Ajiman. And we were treated with information about herbal medicine and some of the practitioners. And we had a doctor from the Center for Plant Medicine Research provided us with a overview of some of the work that the center, the Plant Medicine Research Center was doing. We also had some poetry recital from the University of Ghana, and that was done by Dr. Daniel Appiah Adeje and his team. And they were from the School of Performing Arts at the University of Ghana. Again, we had some more traditional dances and then opportunity for team members to interact with the herbal practitioners and some traditional healers. So the visit to the University of Ghana was a very educational, spiritual, and entertaining one that I think members of the RJoy group really enjoyed. So on this trip to Ghana, in addition to visiting the university in Accra, the group also visited a local prison, a medium security prison, visited a local jail, did some court observation, of course, did shopping. Then, when we moved from Accra to Kumasi, we visited the Manhair Palace, did some shopping in that area, visited the Kente weaving village at Bunway, had the naming ceremony, had a traditional dinner, a traditional Ashanti dinner. Then we also moved from Kumasi to Elmina, Cape Coast, So we visit there. But before we visited the castles at Cape Coast and Elmina, we visited the Asin Manso slave river, as it is described. And maybe that was one of the most meaningful experience of the visit for a number of persons because of what transpired. We were given
that sound like you.
yeah, him
man,
drumming
nice
away. Go for it, hip. This is the group drummer drumming away. Yeah. Ooh, look at him. Look at them fingers swiping that sound. Yeah. Woo. Make it dance. Make it talk. Yeah. Yeah. Drummer number 2. These are our resident drummers. They can.
Somebody was giving you the shaker too in the back.
a tour, information about the site. It's a preserved site. But we were also then encouraged to take off our footwear, our shoes and sandals, and walk barefooted as the enslaved people would have been, and to walk in their footsteps from the point where there are 3 graves of returnee. I think one is from the US, one from Jamaica, and another island. I'm not remembering which one right now. But so from there, people walked down to the river, and that was a very spiritual and connecting moment. And as you'll see in this video, varying photographs of people appearing just transfixed as they enjoy the moment, the quietness of the canopy there, of just being in a space where possibly some ancestors might have marched to take their final bath before then walking miles to one of these ports from where they'd be shipped across the Atlantic. Some of them, of course, never to make the journey because so many people died during that transatlantic voyage. So again, a very challenging, difficult, profound, spiritual, very connecting experience for a number of people as we visited that slave river as it is described, and saw where people had their last bath. And yes, so some of the photographs you'll see and enjoy depict the moods, the moments, the transfixing, the connection that a lot of people had as we did this part of the trip. While I've used my experience and the experiences of others to be describing the situation at the Slave River, it might not be fair for me to use a broad brush to claim that the experience might have been the same for all persons. I'm sure there might be some in the group that did not experience the Slave River visit the way that I've been describing it. But in my conversation with some, and I'm going to mention Keith, Ina, I know I've spoken with Ernest, with Tiasha, and with many others who describe in similar terminologies the way that I've described this. But I've not spoken to all the members of the contingent, and there were more than 30 of us. So I'll have the photographs speak for themselves, and you, the viewer, can make your own judgment as to perception, since we know and make the claim that perception is reality. What are you seeing as you're observing people milling around, the different shots taken, and how people appear to you? So in fairness, instead of prejudging the nature of the experience, I should say that's how I experienced it. And certainly some of my colleagues and friends that I spoke to who were on the trip had similar vibe as I expressed it. Certainly shared this vibe. That should be Rocky. Went on to Cape Verde, where his family is from. And I'm sure he had a grand time there. But he expressed that Shakur talked about the experience also, as did Anthony, Michael, a number of persons. So I better not be calling names and leaving people out. But a number of persons did describe this as very spiritual, very touching, very meaningful, as maybe the most critical part of the trip, of having an everlasting impression. I've been going to Ghana since 2010. I've made multiple trips to Ghana, and this is my first experience at the river, and it maybe is one of the most meaningful things that I've done in Ghana. So I know I might be selling this a lot, but it was a time for reflection to think about the journey that the forebears of many people in the West, many people in the Americas, black people, of what this might have meant to them. I personally, I do not know if my forebears came from Ghana. I've not done any DNA search, and have no intention of doing any. I came to Ghana, have felt acceptance here, and I'm comfortable with this part of the motherland that has adopted me and that I have adopted. But other people have DNA leaning in Togo, in Benin, in Nigeria. Family members I know have a high percentage of their DNA show Nigerian connection. Ernest is from Nigeria, so it's not Ghana alone. It's Sierra Leone, it's Senegal, it's all of these countries that black people were captured, enslaved, shipped across the Atlantic, and had this terrible journey. I know the experience that people had here in Ghana is very similar to what they have had in different countries on the continent. So with that said, again, enjoy the photos, and I sign off here.